At this time, I'd like to call to order the 23 September 2024 Jackson County Commission meeting. Thanks for everybody being here tonight. We have a couple of speakers tonight, and we have quite a busy agenda. We have several items. That is annual requirements of us to complete before the 1st of October. That's in our new business section of tonight's agenda, and so we will undertake those. And then several items in our work session portion of the agenda. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Hamrick to please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Gully?
Present.
Commissioner Kitterer?
Present.
Commissioner Buckner?
Present.
Commissioner McBride?
Present.
We do have a quorum, thanks very much. And if we can all please stand, I'd like to ask Mr. Porter, our county attorney, to offer our invocation, and Commissioner McBride, please lead our pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. God, our Father in heaven, we are truly blessed to live in this country and in this beautiful county. We're so thankful for the liberty that we have. We have the chance to, an opportunity to select our leaders by voting. So God, we pray as we engage upon this voting season that we will do so with your thoughts and with your directions in mind. God, we just pray that you'll watch over this process, that each and every one of the persons that are running for office will always look to you for the answers that they need and for their guidance. God, we pray for these men that are gathered here today to represent us in this fashion. We pray for them and their families. We pray you'll watch over them and guide them and direct them each and every day. We offer this prayer in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the package, you have the agenda tonight. As I said earlier, we have a number of items in our new business portion of the meeting and several items in the work session. Give you a moment to take a look at the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for September the 23rd, 2024 Jackson County Commission meeting?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
No, second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. I don't believe we have any awards or presentations tonight to make, but we do have a couple of speakers. So first, Mr. Reel.
Yes, sir.
Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Okay. Sir, we have a microphone here. And before you get started, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. It's just for the record.
Yes, sir.
Please state your name
Dr. John Randall Reel.
and your address, sir.
Our property in Jackson County is the property at the end of County Road 175, known as Bull Run.
Okay, and your address there, sir?
The address is actually listed in Tennessee. It's 345 Bull Run Road, Huntland, Tennessee, but we own property 99 acres in Alabama.
Okay.
So,
And are you representing yourself or the group?
I am one of a group of concerned property owners in the area.
Okay, thank you very much. And sir, I'll give you 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. And in the interest of time, I've prepared a packet for each of the commissioners so that you can review things at your leisure.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the pretty blonde back here is my wife, who's here as well. So 2 years ago, we acquired the property at the end of County Road 175, just past Estill Fork, Alabama, known as Bull Run, and it's comprised of about 99 acres in Alabama. And as the introductory paragraph says, the previous property owner several decades ago had granted Jackson County an easement through the property for hunters to access the wildlife refuge land in Tennessee and for the game wardens to use it. There is another access road into the Tennessee land that comes down through Roe Gap or Iron Gap Road up in Tennessee. It's a little bit strange that the Tennessee game wardens drop down into Alabama to go up back into Tennessee through our property. But that's an easier road for them to do. We're happy to allow that. What's happened over the past several decades, and the previous landowners who graciously granted the easement for North Alabamians to enjoy hunting rights into Tennessee, they've moved away. They live up in Chicago. We purchased the property from them years ago, and they were not here. And over the past several years, with social media and the advent of people acquiring off-road vehicles, it's become an increasingly higher demand kind of free off-road park. And on weekends, I mean, we have a cabin up there on the Tennessee side, but obviously we go through Alabama and we pay our property taxes in Jackson County. But it's become an ongoing issue where people are utilizing it as a free off-road park. And the road is deteriorating. There's environmental concerns with the creek. There's litter going on. There's shooting going on. There's night rides going on. There's beer drinking going on. And with the advent of social media, it's ever increasing. And so, I have serious concerns that the environment can't handle it, that there's going to be environmental damage. I have concerns from a liability issue. If there's, Lord forbid, someone flips their ATV and they kill someone on this road in the middle of the night, who's, am I responsible for that? Is the county responsible for that? I don't think Mr. Northcutt from the conservatory is here tonight, but the first of the property goes through that. But I'll leave it to you guys to read through this paragraph, but the concerns to be addressed would be environmental damage to Estill Fork Creek and its tributaries. This is on the first page. Property damage to private owners and the roadways. And my contractors here, I spent roughly $50,000 to upgrade the road over the past 2 years. I only see it to be run down and potholes put in it by people running their razors and whatnot up and down it. There's obviously the liability issue if someone does get hurt up there. There's a litter and trash issue. There's parking and road blocking going on for people parking their trailers, which is putting a strain on complaints on the sheriff's department in both Tennessee and Alabama, and an issue for private owners to access their lands when these roads are blocked with ATV trailers. There's the noise of these machines, which are not street legal. There's vandalism going on. When we were putting in our utility for North Alabama Electric, our conduits were vandalized and stuffed with objects to block our conduits, which my contractor, Mr. Brown, had to deal with. And plus they vandalized his track hoe and everything. At night, we spend the night up there, but there's night riding going on, there's shooting going on, and in the middle of the night, there's breakdowns. I've been up at midnight through 1 a.m. trying to retrieve a broken vehicle that was stranded on the trail, and I'm happy to help. But my point is, it's only going to get worse because it's unregulated, it's free, and these people come up there because they know it's free. They don't want to pay for an off-road park. They don't have to sign a liability waiver, and they can bring their beer and have a good time. And from a recreational off-road standpoint, there are plenty of off-road parks for people to go. And I don't have an issue with it being open during hunting season. I would graciously ask the commission to look into this. I mean, I would either say let's maintain it and police the road, but I know resources are limited, or vacate the easement so I can close it, or let's just say let's close it when it's not hunting season and open it for hunter access only, which is something that's been done similarly in Jackson County in the Skyline Wildlife Management. And I know there was another trail up in the Skyline area called the Blue Hole, and it got to a point where so many Jeepers were coming up there, groups, they just said, look, this is hunter access only, we're closing the road during non-hunting season. So there are solutions, but I just need to get the ball rolling so that we can do the right thing and protect the environment, protect the property owners, and also allow the public access that is deserved. If you'll flip over to the next page to the map.
Sir, I'll give you about one more minute to finish
Sure.
up.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll get to the next speaker. If we could get the next speaker before we open for questions, that way we've heard both on this issue, and then we can ask questions for both. Go ahead, sir.
But if you flip to the map, you'll see the County Road 175 ends in pavement in Estill Fork Creek at the wildlife management area, and then my property in Jackson County is this L-shaped, red-shaped property right here. And the road passes through both wildlife management and my property. The next page over is what we typically see when I'm driving up there on the weekend. Trailers, and this guy doesn't even have his vehicle secured to the trailer. The straps are falling off the back of the trailer. The next two pages are what we typically deal with, trying to get into our land with vehicles and trailers parked on the side of the road. If we flip forward, these tire marks are taken in Estill Fork Creek, which is a protected tributary, and they're riding their machines in the creek. The next page over is people on my land trespassing where they've crossed the creek, and they've actually got a campfire going in the creek. And these are actually on my property. They're off the easement. And a lot of these people, when I respectfully ask for them to leave, they've been doing this for 20 years. They act like it's theirs. And some of these conversations are not hard or are hard. This is the road after my contractor improved it. And this is the road conditions further down on the Tennessee side from what these machines are doing damage. And this is costing money to have this, it's costing me money to have this easement to maintain it. So I just respectfully ask the commission to maybe look into this and possibly consider closing it when hunting season is not open, or doing something so that we as property owners have some protection up there.
Okay, sir, if you would hold just a minute. And we have Mr. Vanderbrink?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I won't burn up 5 minutes, trust me.
Okay.
Here's some pictures, you guys can look at them afterwards. I'm Stan Vandermeer. I live at 5137 County Road 175. I'm directly north of Gray's Chapel. I own both sides of the road from Burke Creek up to the end of my property. You see those pictures, that's at 175 and 140. They constantly park there, they throw their trash out, they throw the trash over the fence before I bush hog out to pick up trash. They'll park down 140 just like that. They park so far out into 175 and 140 that you couldn't take a pickup with a trailer and turn that corner. I know Rocky's people are sick, and I got them on speed dial on the weekends. And I can guarantee you, every Sunday night, from midnight to 5 in the morning, we'll be up 3 or 4 times. Because they come out at night, the drunks come up about 3 or 4 o'clock, they hang out till about midnight, 1 o'clock, and they come out of there wide open. They think nothing is stopping in front of my house, having their parties, waiting for their buddies to come out. They've rolled through my fence. Next morning, my horses are out. I've complained to them before, and I've heard the grapevine, you push it, there'll be horses get shot. That's what we're dealing with. That's the mentality we're dealing with. It's not hunters. And then Roy Evans owns Circle E and up on Iron Gap. He'll have off-road events. He put up $2,000 to who can climb the waterfall. Well, they're smart enough. They know they can come by my house, not have to pay Roy Evans. Aguilar, that owns Aguilar Stone, that's not even his name, on Skyline, he won. And he put it on TikTok, a video of him sitting right in the creek with a razor that's not supposed to be in there and jumping that waterfall. And that's what goes on every weekend. And when the state closed Bigham on 65 for safety reasons, they all came here. And it's constant, and they have their own Bull Run, Iron Gap Facebook page, and they're belligerent. And they're playing for keeps, and I don't care if it's closed permanently. And I'd like to, if nothing else, make it all no parking on the county road so I can sleep at night, because I dread the weekends. And the loud razors that are modified for rock crawling, they'll come up, and they'll come up fast from where they park, because it echoes in the valley, and they see the horses, they'll rev it up, and I got 4 horses and a mule running around with a 5-year-old grandkid trying to fish. It don't work. And I dread living there, and I about had enough of it. Whatever you guys can do would be appreciated. If not, I'd like to look at making it all no parking.
Okay. Thank you.
Give Leon Thompson
Let me
one.
open for questions from the
Sure.
commissioners.
I myself live in this fork, and I don't go all the way there all the time, but I see what you guys are saying with with people coming in and out. I mean, there's a lot of traffic coming in and out of that road. I get your frustration. We've had some issues, personal issues with them almost running us off the road, probably impaired, but, you know, we have to look at the laws and what laws they're breaking, and that's, we need to sit down as a group and come up with a plan.
Okay. Anybody else?
I want to thank you for bringing the concerns to us. I can see your obvious frustrations, and it makes sense. And so, you know, of course, what we've got to do is look at what we can and are allowed to do. And so I guess from there we can see what we can do to help. But thank you.
Thank you. I agree there's a problem. Our family has hunting land on Bingham, which once was traveled like that, so I get it, 'cause we were trying to go hunting and had a hard time sometimes.
Yeah, your
Almost-
season's pretty tough.
Almost getting around other folks, having a big time, so I get your point.
Chris, anything?
Well, absolutely. With the lack of public land, so much private land for people to ride, the off-road industry is such a growing industry, and you've got a facility up on top of the mountain that supports it, but then they send them down off their paid side on down to the free land. So I guess we just need to get with the state and research this and see what we can come up with to help you guys.
So, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir, and thank you all for listening, and it's not the hunters that are the problem, and, you know, I'm new, and I've been threatened that if this road closes, they're gonna burn my cabin down. So, I'm here with some guts just to speak forward. But the hunters aren't the problem, and we're not trying to shut down the locals' access to hunting land or the game wardens. We want to look for the best solution. But something is, the status quo now is going to keep snowballing, where these people are just going to use it as a free off-road park, like I said, because they don't have to pay, and bring their beer, and there's, you know, the liability is a whole nother issue. All those concerns that I've addressed, thank God, the only one that I've not witnessed is a liability issue, which will sooner or later happen.
Yeah,
can I say one
thing?
Please.
I'm a contractor, I got an excavation business. 3 different times I've called Rocky's office trying to get help up there when I couldn't move my equipment because they had the roads blocked. I mean, absolutely could not move. You go out there with a 53-foot lowboy with a semi in front of it, you're gonna need all the road that's there. And if you can't do anything else, then you put no parking signs. I mean, it's, Rocky, you can look into that. I mean, there's 3 different times, and they can't do nothing. When I call, well, we don't have, officers available to go out there now, or that's not a serious enough problem. So,
Okay, let me offer that Rocky and I have talked to land management folks. He's been talking to them for a while. We talked to him jointly this morning. What we're talking about doing and what we're going to do is we're gonna get land management out there, we're gonna get the county engineer out there, and we're gonna get the commissioners out there and the sheriff's department out there. We're all gonna go sit down together. Well, we won't sit down, we'll get out there, take a look, and look at what all the options are. Honestly, options from restrictions to parking to other kind of options that we can look at. But,
Come on out there, I'll make ribs.
sorry?
I'll make ribs for you all. Come on out there.
Might be a good day for it. But the point is, Rocky certainly has heard your concerns. I know Kevin has heard your concerns. And so we're gonna get out there and take a look at what options there are to do this. But that range of options is gonna be wide open. We're gonna get out there and see where we are with this and try to address this issue, because we understand what it's doing to you folks. Trying to put some kind of restrictions on there, I will tell you one thing we want to be careful of is we don't impose some kind of ordinance that starts to restrict the farmers and folks around the rest of the county. So we need to do something that deals with this situation. I'm giving you my opinion now, and that's all it's worth. But we need to look at it sort of that way. But the land management folks, and I'm gonna turn this over to Rocky for a minute, but they've agreed to be out there with us. In fact, they recommended us all get together on site can take a look. So Rocky, comments?
Yeah, you've said most of it, and definitely I've heard your complaints, and you're right. I mean, I don't have the deputies to sit out there, and when they do come out, it's gonna be one guy, and if they get into some crap out there, they're not getting no help.
Right.
Because there's no service, there's no radio, there's no phone service out there, so.
Half the time I call, I say, don't send nobody, because they'll be
Yeah.
gone by the time you get there. 'Cause
Right.
I know you guys only got 5 in a full shift.
And that's not the farthest place in our county, but
Right.
pretty close to it.
Just about.
For us to get somebody out there to check regularly, so we try to get by there more since I've been getting complaints, but I don't know how well they're getting out there. You know,
I
we're
feel
lucky,
Rod.
we're lucky if we had 3 or 4 people working a shift, 1,100 square miles. So it is difficult, and I don't know, I was gonna ask a question, and maybe, I don't know who it would be directed to, but my understanding is that road, prior to you owning it, they gave access, is that correct?
Yeah, and.
But that's on your property.
Is on my property, so Mr. Porter can probably research the easement, although I have a copy of the Jackson County easement and the date and time in my closing documents. I'm sure Mr. Porter can find it too.
AC and dot sys, right?
But there's an easement through the Nature Conservatory land that goes up Estill Fork Creek, and then it crosses through my private land. And so I've told people that it's fine to pass through. We're not trying to stop anyone from passing through, because there is an easement there, but we try and ask them not to pull off and park, or picnic, or camp, and just go ahead and pass on through. And some people are very good with that. Some people are very hateful and threatening with that. And I understand where they're coming from, because the previous property owners, we lived in Chicago and they're non-existent, and a lot of these folks have been doing this for a while, and no one's said, hey, this is not okay anymore. That's not the big issue. The big issue is the off-road community is expanding. And even though there's off-road parks, people are gonna go to some place that's free and there's no oversight.
So I guess my question here is that something that can be amended, revoked, that permission by the new owner? We did have the same problem at Bingham. They were parking all over the road on 65. Basically, we threatened to tow a bunch of cars for a couple weekends, and it helped.
Could you tow those that's parking on 175? I mean, they're out in the pavement.
Yeah, we can, but then we got a second problem. When they come down there, they're walking. So that's another issue. Then you're gonna be bothered with that, because they don't have phone service.
Well, that would
Too
be
bad.
okay.
Yeah, I know, too bad, but again, we gotta look at that. We
Or
gotta
put
take
Billy
into
Wilson
consideration.
back on your payroll for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So again, let me offer that, we'll get together for this meeting. Let me also offer the day that we agree and set a date to get out there. We'll invite landowners to be out there with us. I mean, we need to, again, have that discussion right there on site with you. And commissioners that can come, as long as we don't end up with a quorum out there. Or we invite the delegation, and therefore we don't have to have an quorum issue out there, so we'll see. But anyhow, the point is, we hear you. We're gonna get out there, we're gonna take a look at what we do. We'll look at all options. We'll do that. So, I promise you that. Thanks for coming to see us today. I really appreciate that. At this time, we will move into the new business portion of the meeting. First item is, we have the minutes for the August 26th meeting and work session, the August 30th budget hearing, and the September the 9th meeting and work session in your packet. I'll give you a chance to take a look at those in a minute before we move for motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a second. Any questions, discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We have several resolutions that we are passing tonight. Some of them we do annually with our Council of Aging, but we also have two regarding an Alabama amendment by Alabama Act number 2024-278 that has to do with establishing or designating a public officer to carry out the directives of the Opens Records Act as amended by that act. The resolution in your packet, the first one states, and I will try to be brief with it, but it states, whereas it is the policy of the Jackson County Commission to comply with the Open Records, Alabama's Open Records Act as amended by Act number 2024-278, effective 1 October 2024, to allow Alabama residents to inspect and take a copy of public records within the custody and control of the commission, subject to the payment of a legal fee and to appropriate protections for private, confidential, privilege, and other non-public information. And whereas the Open Records Act as amended set forth the general framework for responding to requests, and whereas the Open Records Act as amended further provides that an Alabama resident may request access to a public record by following the written procedures for accepting the request established by the public, and whereas the Commission desires to designate a public officer to carry out these directives of the Open Records Act as they pertain to public records, and to develop and recommend to the Commission the adoption of the procedures for accepting public records requests. Now therefore be it resolved by the resolution that the Jackson County Commission hereby designates Matthew Hamrick, the County Administrator, to serve as the public officer of Jackson County to carry out the directives of the Open Records Act as amended by Act 2024-278. And this would be adopted as of the 23rd day of September 2024. Do I have a motion to approve and sign resolution designating a public officer to carry out the directives of the Open Records Act as amended by Alabama Act number 2024-278?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We then have to follow that with another resolution that adopts the procedures for accepting public records requests. And that resolution reads, and whereas it is the policy of the Jackson County Commission to comply with the Open Records Act, and whereas the resolution adopted on September the 23rd, 2024 by the Commission designated Matthew Hamrick, County Administrator, to serve as the public officer of Jackson County to carry out the directives and of the Open Records Act. And whereas the public officer so designated has recommended the adoption of the procedures for accepting public records requests set forth in full in the attachment to this resolution and are incorporated by reference herein. Now therefore be it resolved by this resolution that effective 1 October 2024, the Jackson County Commission hereby adopts the procedures for accepting public records as set forth in the attachment to this resolution. Procedures are attached. It specifies the procedures for requesting. It also applies to only residents of Jackson County, and a requirement for proof of residency to be provided to the Jackson County Commission. And it further provides for descriptions of the records request and fees and who to apply for requests for open records information. So with that, do I have a motion to approve and sign the resolution adopting the procedures for accepting public records requests?
I'll make that
We have a motion, have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. This was a requirement for us to adopt these by the 1st of October of this year. And I think we got notice of this about a week ago. So thanks for bearing with us as we got through that. We have two other resolutions on that is in support of our Council on Aging. That is an activity that we support our senior citizens around the county. And that work is done through our Council on Aging Department. Mr. Coleman is the director. The first is an agreement between Jackson County Commission and the Council of Aging and the Jackson County Nutrition Program. And it states that this agreement is made and entered into by the County Commission, COA, and the Jackson County Nutrition Program, and in cooperation with the Alabama Department of Transportation. And we, the operator, is designated the public transportation operator, and is authorized to enter into the provisions of the service contracts based upon an approved cost allocation rate for those services. And the agency desires to engage us to provide transportation services to designated clients of the county, and that we are willing and able to provide those services. The agreement further states the scope of the services to be provided. The period of performance is from 1 October 2024 through 30 September 2025. And the payment of expenses, it states that we have to provide the personnel and equipment capable of performing the services. And if you look further back in the agreement, there is the scope of services, and in that it indicates the fee, and it says incidental transportation will be scheduled and provided in accordance with Section 5 of this agreement. The charge for this transportation will be billed at the normal rate of 94 cents a mile plus $35.77 an hour. So with that, do I have a motion to approve and sign the resolution and agreement with the Jackson County Nutrition Program for Council on Aging?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This is an annual agreement that we signed to ensure that we work with TARCOG for these services. The second agreement is also with between the Jackson County Commission, and this one is with the Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care, and it's made between the county and Mountain Lakes. It is for us, the operator, we are the designated public transportation operator for Jackson County to support the Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care Center. And it says where the agency desires us to engage by providing the services, and that we will provide the specific transportation services in accordance with the scope of services for Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care. The effective period is October the 1st, 2024 through 30 September 2025. It also has in the back of an agreement a rate schedule, and it's the same as the previous agreement, and that is at 94 cents a mile plus $35.75 an hour. So do I have a motion to approve and sign the resolution and agreement with Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care for Council on Aging?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Every year we approve an annual bid list for our Public Works organization. Let me turn the floor over to Mr. Campbell for any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. As presented in the last meeting, there was a distribution list with the department's recommendations for the bid items as received. They ranged anywhere from only bidder to low bidder and renewals. So I would love to answer any questions you may have regarding those recommendations.
Okay, if there are no questions, do I have a motion to approve the annual bids for fiscal year 2025?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on our list of new business is our 2025 budget for Jackson County. Spent a little time just discussing that. You do have a packet in your folder that has the expenditure budget for the county, revenue budget for the county, and then general fund. We will discuss the general fund portion as well. I just want to sort of lay out what we went through getting to this point in the budget. We started the budget hearing process in April. We'll say we started with Bob Manning still here, and as we had a new county administrator coming on board, so they had the opportunity to work together through this. And we continued that through the months of May, June, July. And so I want to say thank you to all the departments that participated for coming to the budgets, bringing all your information, and being engaged with the discussion, and to the commissioners for participating in this process as well. I also want to say thank you to the commission staff and our county administrator, Mr. Hamrick, for his work, because we did a lot of exercises with the budget over the course of those 3 or 4 months. This 2025 budget will fully fund all of our Jackson County departments and will continue to provide the services that we provide in support of our Jackson County residents. As we do this budget, we take a conservative approach to the budget. That is, we deliberately try to underestimate projected revenue, and we deliberately try to over-project what we expect expenditure costs to be. So with that, our 2025 budget for Jackson County, total budget, revenue is projected to be $31,044,628. Our expenditure projection for the overall Jackson County budget will be $30,419,489. And that provides a margin of $625,139. Now that margin is principally in the areas of solid waste, in the area of county park, and so with that, in the area of our general fund. And so those margins allow us to have some flexibility as we proceed through the year when items come up that have been unexpected as we have projected our budget. It also provides for the county park and our solid waste department to procure the upgrade in equipment and materials that they need to perform their functions. Looking at the budget, the revenue portion, the general fund comprises 36% of the budget. The public works comprise 34% of the budget. Solid waste, 9% of the revenue budget. The jail, 10%. Our emergency management agency, 1%. Our county park, 3%. And our council of aging, 3%. And other activities that are smaller in nature comprise 4%. That 38% of the budget that's related to general fund, the general fund revenue is projected to be $11,307,046, and the expenditure projection is $11,039,091. The margin there is $267,955. This budget, once approved by the commission, will be posted for all to see, and it will be posted on jacksoncountyiowl.gov. And when you get into that, you go to government, and then to commission, and under commission, county budget. And we expect, if we approve this budget tonight, that it will be posted for all to see by Wednesday, the 25th. Some features of the budget. For the FY25, the commission will transfer $1,147,938 from Fund 112 to Fund 111 to continue to help Public Works Department. But this will continue to be reviewed annually to make a determination of how much to or not to transfer to Public Works. For FY 2025, the commission is budgeting an additional $54,000 under the appropriation account with the Sheriff's Department to assist in their vehicle maintenance expenditures. This also will be reviewed annually. Also, we will add a 3% differential to employees within the Sheriff's Department and the jail who are working the night shifts for the Sheriff's Office and the jail, and that will include folks in our dispatch office. We will add $1 per hour raise for our retirees under contract to support our courthouse security. Just so you understand what that $1 means for us in a total year, $336 for the year, if I remember the number right. For FY 25, the commission will budget an additional $17,000 for our county extension office. They are doing a tremendous job across Jackson County supporting our farmers, our ranchers, and our ag community. That community brings $272 million to our Jackson County economy annually. We will increase the fixed expense allowance for the coroner's deputies. As we looked at what we have been doing for our coroners over the years, previously the coroner's deputy received $128 a month. We will up that to $400 a month for the chief deputy. And for the other two deputies, they have been receiving $103 a month. We will up that to $250 a month for their. We will implement a 6.5% cost of living allowance for all county employees. That will be effective the 7th of October to be paid out the 25th of October this year with the first pay period. In addition, we will do a 3% step increase for all county employees that are serving between 5 and 9, have served over 5 years up to 9 years. And an additional 3% step increase for all employees that have served over 10 years. So just a little explanation. One of the reasons we're doing this, we're still dealing with over a 20% turnover rate per year with county employees. Reason why? We still are not at the level with county salary, employee salaries with our neighboring counties, with the city of Scottsboro, and certain to public enterprises. So we continue to fight the hiring and retention of county employees in very critical jobs. Next item, we will add one maintenance custodian to our Jackson County Maintenance Department, and that custodian will have primary responsibility for working with the Jackson County Park, cleaning up cabins and facilities at the park, and also working with our Council of Aging cleaning that facility. We had previously established a position of a part-time clerk in our county park. Our new park director, Doug, has recommended that we not do that, but rather we hire a maintenance person with a park, and so we will change the part-time clerk by organization chart to a full-time park maintenance position. And last, also we will reclassify our rural public transportation bus drivers from a grade 2 to grade 4. And then there are several positions across the county that their responsibilities have increased significantly. We will recognize this by upgrading either by step or by grade. Those are the principal activities of our budget. In your packet, you do have the budget sheets for expenditure, for revenue, and you do have the organization chart adjustments that will be made to the county park and to our maintenance department. I'll give you a minute to look over. With that, do I have a motion to approve the FY 2025 Jackson County budget? We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion, questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Last two items is we have two boards that we will appoint membership to tonight. The first is the Jackson County, the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourism Association Board. Traditionally, we appoint our county park director to that, or we rotate with the city for the manager of Goose Pond. So we're still applying this to our county park director. Mr. Parrish is our county park director, and we would appoint him to this position to represent us. So do I have a nomination for Mr. Parrish to the Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourism Association Board?
Make that nomination.
We have a nomination. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So Mr. Parrish has been appointed to the board. Next board, a very important board that we have, and that is the Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care Board. We have 4 applicants for that board. Their resumes or letters of request or text messages of request is in your packet. First applicant is Mr. John David Jordan. Mr. Jordan, letter states that he has served with over 4 decades, he has over 4 decades of experience in the healthcare field. He has served as a paramedic. His career has spanned both ground and air ambulance services. Since 1987, he's held the position of coroner for Jackson County, and he represents Jackson County on the board of directors for the Alabama Child Death Review Board since 2016. Second applicant is Roxanne Lysock. Per her request of consideration for the board, she is a resident of Jackson County for 7 years, lived in Huntsville, Alabama prior, and held several positions in the mental health area. She worked in child abuse prevention for the National Children's Advocacy Center. She worked as a school counselor. She's received her master's degree in counseling. She worked with Crestwood Hospital as a therapist on the psychiatric unit, and she supervised the hospital employees that were pursuing their college degrees in counseling. The third applicant is Carrie Quails. Per her application and request, she is a criminal justice graduate, experienced in security, has customer service experience, education at Capella University with a master's degree of science in studies of human behavior, CED mental health at Fort Payne from 2015 to current, with clinical supervision as a mental health therapist. 2016 to current, CED health, mental health lead, mental health therapist in Fort Payne, providing therapy services for the severely mental ill while and assisting supervision of 3 other therapists. And from 2016 to 2018, she was clinical supervision in CED mental health. Her certification, she's certified clinical trauma professional, crisis intervention counselor, psych screener. And last applicant, Linda Rogers, a licensed professional counselor, a mental health practitioner for over 20 years, owner and director of Scottsboro Professional Counseling and has been in private practice since 2018. A juvenile probation officer, a director of mental health and substance treatment providers for a regional jail and a juvenile detention center. Those are the 4 applications. Let me first say thank you to each of these. We do have a great list of applicants for this position, and we would thank each of those for taking the time to apply and their willingness to serve in this capacity with Jackson County. So at this time, do I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate John David Jordan.
Okay, we have a nomination for John David Jordan. At this time, we will take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Kittimer,
Yes.
Commissioner Buckner,
Yes.
Commissioner McBride. Yes.
So with that, Mr. David has 4 yeses. That is a unanimous. He will be appointed to the Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care Board. Thank you very much. So that concludes our work session. Thanks for everyone, the work with that. We do, with our new business session, we will move into the work session. First item in work session is solid waste roof repair quotes. Do we have Mr. Skipper here? He's not here. Okay. With that, we will table this and put it on the agenda work session for our next meeting. So let's move next to Mr. Boyston, IT Director, copier quotes. So let me turn it over to Mr. Boyston.
So you guys asked for confirmation on the quotes that you had at our last meeting. Those are confirmed, what you see in front of you. You have circled my recommendation. Again, we don't have to have this voted on tonight, but you can look over them, decide on what you guys think would be best, whoever you would like to go with for our copiers for the next 3 to 5 years.
So there was a question asked for
There was a
clarification for the record, the response to the question. I think it was, I read that as 1 cent, black and white.
Yes, it had to do with the black and white colors. That there was a big discrepancy between 2 companies, and I confirm those are correct quotes.
That is their quote.
So they're charging more for black and white than color.
I sent the company the exact thing you're looking at. They approved, so that was it.
Okay.
So
Any other questions? So we can put this on the new business agenda for the next meeting?
that would be great.
Okay. And if you would, at that meeting, would you bring forward your recommendation?
Sure.
Okay. Next item, Public Works is roadway striping list. Mr. Campbell.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. This was discussed some time back as far as individually with some of you about tallying up this list and putting it before you. This is not immediate business or something that would have to be done before year's end, but we do routinely like to get in front of you with several considerations and requests we've had. You'll see this sheet is broken down into 2 sections. The upper being request. You'll see that designated as citizen request, and essentially those routes are routes that have primarily seen traffic striping before, and you'll probably notice by their location they're mountainous, either proximity close to brow lines or mountainsides, and that striping adds in roadway delineation, particularly in foggy times. So the lower part are some of the paved local roads in which we have looked at and would warrant a traffic stripe, some for the same reason and some just for higher ADT purposes or higher density in residential. So the dollar amount breakdown you can see for each different section. If you would like to consider that collectively, that total is also at the bottom. But just one thing to keep in mind as you consider this, we would ask for a designation and a funding source for this work.
Okay, any questions?
I know with the fatality that we had coming down 40, there was a strong concern on, I believe it was 224, for some kind of striping there because of its proximity to the brow that you were talking to. I noticed it's not on the list here. Was that considered?
I need to check to verify 100%, but I'm almost certain that's been performed. And,
Okay.
and I'll mention this too because that's a good time. There are width issues with some of the roadways and the equipment that must do the striping. So there are other options if you encounter that from citizen requests, such as edge lines only, or sometimes we resort to markers only. So really edge lines, they can consume the whole roadway and still paint the edge, if that makes sense. But a center line is an issue for those narrow roads.
Were any of these roads listed on the possible safety plan that we explained?
Yes, so County Road 17, you'll notice, is listed. And our recommendation is traffic stripe. So the mountainside was repainted sometime back after the repair. And it goes to approximately the top and a little further to County Road 317. From County Road 317 to 79 is faded with a lot of markers missing. So we didn't recommend markers in this case for the reason that you just said, but however, we do feel it's warranted to freshen up that stripe.
Yeah, I've had issues on 17, fog rolls in and it's impossible to know where you are, so appreciate that.
I've had calls on that as well, particularly late at night in that condition.
30 degrees as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask about markers on roads like 19, 39, 21. So,
Generally, center line and markers are something for higher ADT, major minor collectors. Some of the other routes, like you mentioned, with, try to do the traffic stripe. Technically, none of the roads in the county would require a stripe. There is some obligation that once we stripe them and make that decision, that there's a level of maintenance applied with that activity, so.
yeah, I noticed that going up, I'll use County Road 77 as an example, what you guys have done out there with the center line and with the edge stripes. I mean, that is very distinctive to see, particularly, I don't know if you can do it on narrow roads, but and I don't know what the price of that would be, or if there are any roads here that you would recommend, given conditions we've seen, that you would edge stripe those as well.
Yeah, so 77 would be a major collector, so that would be the reason for that extra features.
I'm just using that as an example because it's really
Yes, sir.
distinctive whenever you see that edge striping on the road.
The safety grant, I'm super excited because of the features that he's talking about that will go to roads like what you've listed here, just, with 17 being an example, so. Excited about the possibility of adding the stripes, particularly as we get in the darker months, because it is helpful to know where the center of the road is when you're traveling this road, so thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Are we okay waiting until the next meeting to approve this?
Yes, sir.
We need to look for sources.
Yes, sir, no problem.
For this, okay?
If you have questions in the meantime, please reach out, or if we need to relook at other routes or make any changes, please let us know.
Okay.
Thank you all.
With that, that concludes our work session. We'll move to reports from the staff. County administrator, anything?
No, today.
County engineer, anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
County attorney?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay, moved into, well, let me ask, is Chad has moved out, right? Doug, you got anything?
No, thanks.
Okay, so comments from the commission, District 4, Commissioner McBride.
Well, I'd just start out by saying thank you to our people who came today to speak out on behalf of the concern that several have had. Like to see more people come to our commission meetings and know what's going on so that they would have a better understanding of how things work. But we'd like to say thank you to all of our employees. They did a wonderful job. I was very pleased with the budget to be able to give them a raise, and I think that will go a long way helping out our county employees.
District 3, Commissioner Butler.
Couple things. One, I want to applaud you for coming and speaking tonight. It is a risk, and so thank you for doing that because it's the right thing. There is a lot of value in Alabama, and particularly in Jackson County, to land ownership, and I wish our citizens were more respectful of your property. And so our condolences on that, but thank you for you doing what you're doing today and have been doing, and being an advocate for what we all hold dear, which is property rights. And so thank you for doing that. Second thing, with the budget, that's an all-encompassing thing that takes many months to do, and so I'm extremely thankful for the work that Bob Manning did in laying the foundation for that. Matthew, thank you for jumping right into that and carrying that torch on and helping with that process. The department heads, it's always it's nice to know that you guys are looking for ways of saving money, being more efficient while taking care of your people, and so that allows the commission to do the COLA raises and things of that nature, and so it's wonderful to know that y'all are mindful of that, which benefits all and just everybody involved in that. So thank you for that. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, District 2,
I'm thankful for a budget passed. A lot of work went into that, I know, Bob and Matthew, so thank y'all for your hard work. I also would like to ask update if we can have anyone that knows how is Kobe doing.
talked with Kobe the other day. He is still in the hospital. Kobe is Kobe. He is taking everything in absolute stride. For those of you that don't know, Kobe, again, is our director of maintenance. Young man, 38 years old. He will have to have a heart and kidney transplant. So right now the doctors have decided that they will do that in one surgical process, one day or while he's under surgery. He is on the list waiting for donor, and the doctors want to have one donor for both the heart and the kidney. We will have a bake sale on the 4th of October to raise money to support the expenses we know that his family has as they're going up there. His wife comes up every weekend. The hospital takes good care of them. They have a bed in the room. But keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Anything else?
That's it.
District 1, Commissioner Gully.
I'll just echo the words of the other commissioners, applaud the directors, department heads, staff, and our administrator on the work on the budget, and appreciate the citizens for coming up with their concerns tonight, and we will see what we can do to try to help you in your endeavors. Thank you.
Well, let me say I appreciate the comments from all of our commissioners here, and I would echo all the same things. And thanks for asking about Kobe. Everybody here is very concerned about Kobe and very committed to doing everything they can. Also say thanks to Jesse, who is the Assistant Maintenance Director. He has been a very busy individual with Colby being out, doing both his job and Colby's. And so we would say thanks to that and all of our maintenance personnel. Our next meeting is scheduled for 15 October. That is a Tuesday, and it is Tuesday because that Monday is a holiday. So we will meet here on the 15th of October in this room at 5 o'clock. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second, that was awfully slow. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion